Listen to me very carefully. What I am about to share with you in the next few minutes has nothing to do with pills, nothing to do with injections, nothing to do with anything embarrassing, expensive, or complicated. It has everything to do with your feet. I know how that sounds. Stay with me, because the biology behind what I am going to show you today is so clear, so proven, and so overlooked that by the time this video ends, you are going to wonder why no one ever told you this before. Here is the truth that changed everything for hundreds of men I have worked with personally. The reason blood stopped flowing where you need it most, the reason your mornings feel empty, the reason your confidence in the bedroom has quietly collapsed, has almost nothing to do with your age. And it has almost nothing to do with your testosterone levels. It has everything to do with a circulation bottleneck that starts at the very bottom of your body and works its way up. And when you fix it at the source, when you soak your feet for just 20 minutes in the right combination of 5 natural ingredients, the blood that has been stuck, pooled, and starved from reaching your pelvic region begins to move again, upward, through the femoral artery, through the pelvis, directly into the tissue responsible for hard, reliable, natural erections. Even at 70, even at 75. I am Dr. Mei Anderson. I am a urologist with over 20 years of clinical experience specializing exclusively in senior men's sexual health. And today on Vital Health Seniors, I am going to give you something no prescription ever could. I am going to give you back control. Before we go any further, drop your age in the comments right now. Just your age. Nothing else. I read every single comment on this channel personally, and I want to see exactly how many men over 50, over 60, over 70 are watching this right now. This video was made specifically and entirely for you. Type your age. I will be reading. Now let me ask you something honestly. Do you remember what your mornings used to feel like? You would wake up before the alarm. There was a natural strength there, automatic, reliable, almost embarrassingly consistent. You never had to think about it. It was simply there, the way breathing is simply there. And then slowly, so slowly you almost did not notice, it started fading. First it was less frequent, then less firm. Then came the moments of hesitation. The moments where you caught yourself hoping instead of knowing. And hope in that situation is a painful thing, because hope means you are no longer certain. And for a man, that uncertainty is a quiet kind of grief that nobody talks about at the dinner table or in the doctor's office. You told yourself it was age. Your doctor told you it was normal. Your wife or your partner may not have said anything at all. And somehow that silence felt worse than any conversation could. I have sat across from thousands of men in my clinical career. Men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Strong men. Successful men. Men who built careers, raised families, and endured things that would break most people. And every single one of them, when this subject came up, lowered their voice just slightly. As if the weakness was theirs. As if the fading was their fault. I need you to hear this clearly. It is not. Your body did not betray you. Your circulation was never given the support it needed to keep those pathways alive. And the place where that failure begins, and where the solution also begins, is somewhere most men have never once thought to look. Their feet. Here is the science, and I am going to make it simple enough that you will never forget it. Your body is one continuous highway of blood. Your heart is the engine, your arteries are the roads, and every organ in your body, including your erectile tissue, depends entirely on blood arriving in sufficient volume and pressure to function. Now think about the geography of your body for a moment. Your feet are the furthest point from your heart. They are at the absolute end of the circulatory line. And after decades of sitting, of reduced movement, of the natural stiffening of blood vessel walls that comes with age, blood flow to the lower extremities becomes sluggish. Blood pools. Pressure drops. Vessels narrow and stop responding the way they once did. Now here is the part that changes everything. The same arterial system that struggles to reach your feet. The femoral artery, the pudendal artery, the internal iliac system, is the exact same pipeline that delivers blood to your penis. They are connected. They are part of the same network. When the lower end of that network is congested and sluggish, the middle of that network suffers too. The erectile tissue, which requires a rapid high-volume surge of blood to become firm and stay firm, simply cannot get what it needs. You are not broken. You have a traffic jam at the bottom of the highway. And your feet contain over 7,000 nerve endings. They are one of the most absorbent surfaces on your entire body. Reflexology maps used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, and now increasingly validated by modern vascular research, show direct neurological and circulatory connections between specific zones on the foot and the kidneys, the adrenal glands, the prostate, and the reproductive organs. When you immerse your feet in warm water combined with the right therapeutic ingredients, you are not simply relaxing tired muscles. You are triggering a vasodilation cascade, a full body signal that tells your blood vessels to open, your circulation to accelerate, and your blood to move upward through the lower body with renewed force and volume, within 20 minutes. Now before I give you the full protocol, every ingredient, every amount, and why the combination works the way it does, I need you to understand 3 things that happen to your body after 40 that cut the blood supply, and that this foot soak is specifically designed to reverse. Because when you understand the why, you will never skip the protocol. The first is something called nitric oxide collapse. Nitric oxide is the single most important molecule in your sexual health. It is the chemical signal your body uses to tell blood vessels to relax, open wide, and allow blood to surge through freely. When you were in your 20s and 30s, your body produced it in abundance. Your vessel walls were flexible, responsive, and practically eager. When arousal happened, the signal fired instantly, the vessels dilated immediately, and blood filled the erectile tissue completely. After 40, nitric oxide production begins to fall. After 50, studies show it can drop by as much as 50%. What does that mean practically? It means the signal that tells your vessels to open is half as strong as it used to be. Your vessels, instead of springing wide open slowly, partially, reluctantly, like a door with a broken hinge. The volume of blood reaching the erectile tissue is reduced. The firmness is reduced with it. And the duration collapses further still. The second thing that happened is what I call the femoral compression problem. The average man over 50 sits for 10 to 12 hours per day. When you sit, your hip flexors tighten and your femoral artery, the main superhighway carrying blood from your core through the pelvis and into the reproductive system, gets chronically compressed. Add to that the natural stiffening of vessel walls that comes with reduced activity, and what you have is a pipeline that is narrowed from the outside by tight muscles and narrowed from the inside by reduced elasticity. The blood that is supposed to surge through on demand simply cannot get through with the volume or speed it needs. This is why men who drove trucks for decades, men who worked desk jobs for 30 years, noticed the most dramatic decline. The compression accumulated silently, and it strangled the supply line. The third thing, and almost nobody talks about this, is a mineral deficit that undermines everything else your body is trying to do. After 50, your kidneys become less efficient at retaining 3 minerals absolutely essential to vascular function and testosterone production. Magnesium, which is required for smooth muscle relaxation in the walls of your blood vessels. Without it, your vessels stay partially contracted and permanently restrict blood flow. Zinc, which is the raw material your body uses to produce testosterone. Without adequate zinc, production slows at the cellular level regardless of how healthy everything else is. And potassium, which regulates the electrical signals controlling the pelvic floor muscles that trap blood inside the erectile tissue during an erection. These 3 minerals are depleted by stress, by processed food, by medication, and by time. And most men never replenish them. Their vascular system operates permanently below capacity as a result. The extraordinary thing about a therapeutic foot soak is this. The skin of the feet is one of the most permeable absorptive surfaces on the body. Minerals dissolved in warm water penetrate the skin and enter the bloodstream within 15 to 20 minutes, bypassing the digestive system entirely. That is why this works so quickly. That is why men feel results within days. Now the protocol itself. And I need you to understand something before I walk you through it. Any single ingredient in this soak will help. But when you combine these 5 specific ingredients in the right order, something else happens entirely. Each one amplifies the mechanism of the others. The vasodilation triggered by one compound is extended and deepened by the next. The minerals absorbed through one pathway are carried further by the circulation opened by another. The result is not additive. It is multiplicative. I call it the performance cascade. And once you experience it, you will understand why men who try just one ingredient, and then try the full combination, describe them as completely different experiences. You begin with 2 full cups of Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate. This is your foundation and it does 2 things simultaneously. First, magnesium penetrates the skin within minutes of soaking and begins reaching your blood vessels, where it signals the smooth muscle in the vessel walls to relax and dilate. Think of your blood vessels as a fist that has been clenched for years. Magnesium is the signal that tells that fist to open. Second, Epsom salt increases the permeability of the skin itself, making everything else you add to this soak absorb faster, deeper, and more completely. This is why it goes in first, and why it dissolves fully before anything else is added. It is preparing the delivery system. Once the Epsom salt is dissolved, you add 2 tablespoons of freshly grated ginger root, or 1 heaped teaspoon of high-quality ginger powder if fresh is not available. Ginger contains a compound called gingerol, one of the most powerful natural vasodilators identified in clinical research. Gingerol works by directly stimulating nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme responsible for producing nitric oxide in the lining of your blood vessels. Remember the nitric oxide collapse I described? The 50% drop that leaves vessels opening slowly and reluctantly? Gingerol begins reversing that collapse from the outside in, through the skin, straight into the peripheral vascular system. Men frequently report feeling a spreading warmth rising through their calves and thighs within the first 10 minutes of adding ginger to the soak. That warmth is not imagined. That is blood moving with greater force and volume through vessels that have just received a powerful vasodilatory signal. And there is something else about ginger that most people are completely unaware of. Gingerol stimulates the release of luteinizing hormone from the pituitary gland. Luteinizing hormone is the signal your brain sends to your testes telling them to produce testosterone. So ginger is not only opening the vessels, it is simultaneously telling your endocrine system to produce more of the very hormone that drives your desire, your drive, and your physical response. The synergy with the Epsom salt is immediate. Magnesium has opened the vessels. Ginger is now driving blood through them with increased pressure. It is like opening a pipe and turning the water pressure up at the same time. Next, and this is the ingredient that surprises men the most, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Cayenne contains capsaicin, and capsaicin does something remarkable that almost nothing else can replicate. When it contacts the skin, it activates specialized nerve receptors called TRPV1 channels. Thermoreceptors that respond to heat and trigger immediate, aggressive vasodilation throughout the lower body. The circulatory response to cayenne through the skin is measurably faster than almost any other natural compound. But there is a second mechanism that makes cayenne uniquely critical for men dealing with performance issues. Cayenne triggers the release of endorphins, natural neurochemicals that simultaneously suppress the production of cortisol and adrenaline. And cortisol and adrenaline, even at the low chronic levels produced by everyday life stress, are physiologically the single greatest enemies of erections. They cause vasoconstriction. They pull blood away from the reproductive system. They create the vicious cycle that every man who has experienced performance anxiety knows intimately. The anxiety causes the failure, and the failure creates more anxiety. Cayenne interrupts that cycle at the neurochemical level, while simultaneously accelerating circulation through the vascular pathway. Do not use more than 1/4 teaspoon. Cayenne is potent and too much can irritate sensitive skin. But at the right amount, the synergy with ginger at this point in the soak is extraordinary. Ginger works through nitric oxide. Cayenne works through nerve receptor activation. They open circulation through 2 completely separate biological pathways simultaneously, which is why men who add cayenne describe the warming sensation as noticeably more powerful than with ginger alone. Now add 2 tablespoons of raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. And make sure it contains the mother, that cloudy sediment at the bottom of the bottle, because that is where the active compounds are concentrated. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the most overlooked saboteurs of male sexual health after 50. It stiffens the walls of arteries, making them less responsive to vasodilatory signals. It damages the endothelial lining where nitric oxide is produced, and it creates biochemical interference that scrambles the nerve signals traveling between the brain and the reproductive system, even when everything else is working. The minerals are present, the nitric oxide signal is firing, the vessels are attempting to respond. Inflammation acts as static that garbles the transmission. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, malic acid, and natural polyphenol that are among the most effective topically absorbed anti-inflammatory compounds available. Applied through the foot soak, they reduce inflammatory markers in the peripheral vascular system within the soaking window. Additionally, the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar is one of the most well-researched natural compounds for stabilizing blood sugar. And blood sugar instability is one of the fastest routes to suppress testosterone and impaired erectile function in men over 50. Think of apple cider vinegar as removing the interference that was blocking the other ingredients from delivering their full effect. The road was opened, the traffic was moving. Apple cider vinegar clears the damage the inflammation left on the road surface itself. Finally, half a teaspoon of baking soda, added last. When baking soda meets the apple cider vinegar already in the water, it creates a gentle fizzing reaction that temporarily alters the pH of the soak water into a mild alkaline state. This increases the permeability of the skin significantly, meaning everything already dissolved in that water now absorbs faster and deeper than it could without this final addition. Baking soda also softens the thickened skin on the soles and heels that can act as a partial absorption barrier in men who have not been caring for this area. Think of it as removing the last layer of resistance between the ingredients in your bloodstream. The fizz you see when you add it is the amplification beginning. The complete cascade works like this. And I want you to hear this clearly because it is the reason this protocol produces results that no single ingredient ever could alone. Epsom salt opens every vessel and makes the skin permeable. Ginger ignites nitric oxide production and signals testosterone production from the brain. Cayenne accelerates blood flow through nerve activation and extinguishes the stress chemistry that was blocking erections at the hormonal level. Apple cider vinegar kills the inflammation that was interfering with every signal your body was trying to send. And baking soda drives all four deeper and faster than they could travel alone. This is not 5 separate ingredients. This is one system with 5 mechanisms, each one amplifying the next in sequence. Here is exactly how to do this tonight. Fill a basin or deep bucket with water as warm as you can comfortably tolerate. Warmth is the delivery mechanism. It dilates the surface vessels of the feet and opens the skin for absorption. The water must be genuinely warm, never lukewarm. Add 2 cups of Epsom salt first and stir until fully dissolved. Then add the grated ginger. Then the cayenne, stirring well. Then the apple cider vinegar. Then the baking soda last. Let the fizz settle before placing your feet in. Soak for the full 20 minutes without rushing. The first 10 minutes prime the system. The second 10 minutes are where the deepest mineral and vascular benefits occur. Cutting the soak short gives you a fraction of the full effect. While you soak, breathe deliberately. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Exhale through your mouth for 6 to 8 counts. This is not simply a relaxation suggestion. It is physiology. Long exhales activate the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve activation drops cortisol, lowers adrenaline, and shifts the body from sympathetic dominance into parasympathetic dominance. The state your body must be in for arousal and erection to occur naturally. Every slow exhale is telling your nervous system it is safe to open. While your feet soak, also use your thumbs to gently massage along the inner crease of both thighs, from the knee upward toward the groin, for 60 seconds on each side. This manually mobilizes blood through the femoral pathway the soak is clearing from below. Men who add this step consistently report noticing results in half the typical time. When the 20 minutes are complete, do not rinse your feet. Pat them dry gently. Then apply a warm damp towel to your lower abdomen for 10 additional minutes. This extends the vasodilatory effect directly into the pelvic region and significantly enhances the upward circulation, Surge the soak initiated. The best time to do this is in the evening, 1 to 2 hours before bed, so the circulatory and hormonal benefits peak during early sleep, when testosterone production is naturally at its highest. Do this every evening for 30 days. Judge the results at 30 days. Not at 3 days. Not at 10. 30. I want to tell you about a man named Raymond. Raymond was 71 years old when he came to see me. He had been married for 42 years. He was a retired civil engineer. Precise, practical, deeply private. The kind of man who fixes problems and deeply dislikes admitting when he cannot. When he sat across from me, he did not look like a man who was used to struggling, but the struggle was written in every line of his face. He told me he had stopped initiating intimacy with his wife entirely, not because the desire was gone, but because the fear of failure had become unbearable. He said his wife had started sleeping later in the mornings, giving him time to get up before she woke. He could not tell if that was kindness or distance. He was not sure which felt worse. He had tried the prescription medications. They worked inconsistently, gave him headaches that lasted for hours, and made him feel, in his own words, like he was borrowing something that should have been his. He told me, "Dr. Anderson, I just want to feel like my body belongs to me again." I gave him this protocol exactly as I have described it to you today. He called my office on day 9. When I spoke with him, he said simply, "It happened this morning." For the first time in 3 years. He did not need to say more. By the end of week 3, his wife had started preparing the basin for him each evening without being asked. By his 6-week follow-up, the man who sat across from me looked entirely different. The weight he had been carrying, the weight of feeling broken, of quietly failing the woman he had spent 4 decades with, was gone from his face completely. He said something I have thought about many times since. He said, "I did not realize how much of myself I had stopped being, until I started becoming it again." That is what this is truly about. Not a clinical outcome. Not a statistic. A man feeling whole inside his own body. I want to give you an honest timeline so you know what to expect and you do not give up before the results arrive. In the first 5 days, most men notice improved circulation in the legs. Less heaviness, less aching in the calves by evening. Sleep quality begins improving as magnesium levels rise. Between days 6 and 10, warmth and increased sensitivity begin returning to the pelvic region. Spontaneous sensation that had been absent for months or years begins reappearing. This is the nerve pathways reactivating as circulation improves and inflammation quiets. In weeks 2 and 3, morning erections begin returning or strengthening noticeably. Energy through the day becomes more consistent. Multiple men report their partners noticing something different. In their energy, their posture, the way they carry themselves, without being told anything has changed. From weeks 3 through 6, firmness and staying power stabilize. The results shift from occasional to consistent. And beyond 6 weeks, these results compound. The vessels become more elastic. The circulation becomes more robust. The nerve pathways become clearer. The only thing that prevents results is stopping before the process is complete. Now 5 daily habits that cost nothing but multiply everything the foot soak is building. Begin every morning with warm water and 1 teaspoon of raw honey. Honey contains boron, a mineral shown to increase free bioavailable testosterone by up to 30% within 1 week of consistent use. Warm water first thing in the morning thins blood that has thickened overnight and jumpstarts kidney filtration before the day begins. Cut sugar after 7 in the evening. Every blood sugar spike triggers an insulin response. Insulin and testosterone move in opposite directions. When one rises, the other falls. Your testosterone production peaks in the early hours of sleep. Elevated insulin at bedtime suppresses it at exactly the moment it should be strongest. Take a 10-minute walk after dinner. Walking activates the venous pump, the mechanism by which calf muscles squeeze blood back toward the heart. It preloads the femoral pathway before your evening soak and significantly increases the circulatory benefit of the protocol. Use the breathing pattern during your soak consistently. For counts in through the nose, 6 to 8 counts out through the mouth. This is the physiological switch that shifts your nervous system into the state required for natural arousal. You cannot be in fight or flight and have a full erection. The breathing overrides the stress response every time. Be in bed before 11. Testosterone is produced in pulses during the deep early stages of sleep. Research consistently shows that sleep before midnight generates significantly more testosterone than sleep after it. This one habit alone has produced measurable results in men who changed nothing else. I want to stop here and speak to you directly, not as a doctor, but as someone who has spent 20 years watching men suffer in silence from something that did not need to be suffered. If this video gave you anything, one useful piece of information, one moment of recognition, one small spark of hope, do 3 things right now. Drop a comment below with your age, and whether you are trying this tonight. Your comment reaches the next man who finds this video and reminds him that he is not alone in this. Hit the like button, not for me, but for every man over 60 sitting right now exactly where you were sitting at the start of this video. Your like puts this in front of him. And subscribe to Vital Health Seniors if you have not already. Because every week I publish exactly this kind of content, real clinical information designed specifically for men over 50, who deserve more than a 10-minute appointment, and a prescription they never asked for. And if there is one man in your life, a brother, a close friend, a father, who you know is carrying this silently, send him this video privately. You do not have to say a word. Just send it. Sometimes the most powerful thing one man can do for another is pass along the information that changed things for him. Your body did not betray you. It was never shown how to maintain what it had. The medical system treats problems after they become crises. It rarely prevents them, and it almost never reverses them using the natural intelligence of your own body. But your body is not finished. It is not broken. It is not past the point of responding. It is waiting. 20 minutes. 5 ingredients. 1 basin. Every evening. That is not a treatment. That is a declaration. I still believe in my body. I have not given up. And when you show up for your body with that kind of consistency, it shows up for you. Raymond showed up on day 9. Your day is coming. I am Dr. Mei Anderson. This is Vital Health Seniors. Next week I am going to reveal the 3 foods that every doctor tells men over 50 are perfectly healthy, that are actively and silently destroying testosterone without a single warning sign. Subscribe so you do not miss it. I will see you there.